came into ASQA on the 1st of July, and the RTOs in Victoria and WA that operate across state borders in referring states or have overseas students are under ASQA's regulation as well. Queensland, South Australia and Tasmania have all formally notified the Commonwealth that they are referring their powers, and they're in the process of entering legislation into the spring sittings of their parliaments to have that take effect over the coming months. By early 2012 we expect those states to also be under ASQA. So we've had this two-stage establishment starting with New South Wales, ACT and NT, plus the hostile takeover, if I call it that, of some of the RTOs in Victoria and WA, and the other states will be coming on board soon. This legislation is really quite groundbreaking and makes a number of departures from previous custom and practice. The national training standards through the Vet Quality Framework are now legislative instruments and not simply guidelines, as they have been in at least some of the previous state acts. There are a wider range of sanctions and possibilities that this Act enable, short of to register or not to register, which are possible, and it gives the Commissioners powers to direct RTOs to require them to address issues that might have been found wanting in their audit or their application. There are a wide-ranging set of powers to require information, and I'll talk a bit about that later in this address, and some new civil penalties to apply as well that fall short of the issue of prosecutions. We talked a bit about that before, the phased-in approach. Rod Arthur, who's in the audience here today, working with a new organisation that's linked to Queensland, University of Queensland, once showed a film at a management day that I attended that showed the 747 flying along with its wings and its engines, but all the guys who were working in it, there was a frame and they were welding the skin of the aircraft on and putting the seats in as it was flying along. And ASQA's starting is a little bit like that. On the 1st of July, over 2,000 of the almost 5,000 RTOs came across to ASQA. Another 2,000 or so will come across when the other three states come in soon. And there'll be about half the RTOs in Victoria and about a third of them in Western Australia have come over to ASQA already, with a continuation of current policy arrangements. There'll be about 900 or so staying with the vet regulators in those two jurisdictions. But they will be the ones that don't have overseas students and don't work across state borders. There's the new NVR regulator amendments bill going through Parliament at the moment, as I say, to reflect the outcomes of some of the consultations that were had with people. But they're the three main acts, the main act plus some transitional provisions, arrangements and consequential amendments. The Act sets out the nature of the national regulator and its powers and obligations. It also sets out the processes for RTOs to make applications for initial registration, for renewing registration, or for changing or amending scope or other aspects of their operation. It provides, I think, a more coherent set of arrangements that we've seen from many of the previous state legislation that's applied. There's also, ASCA will have a role with this Act, the ESOS Act, which many of you are very familiar with. The higher education providers, who are ESOS providers, will be covered by TEXA, the other new regulator. But we'll be doing the ones who are VET RTOs or are non-foundation English-only RTOs. Foundation studies ones will be done by TEXA as well, because they're a pathway into higher ed. Thanks for that. I love this. It's not working, is it? Yeah. Yeah. Now we might be. Now we're trying to get to the next one. We're back to where we started. There we go. Okay, the VET, it's great, isn't it? The VET, it's a good time to have this slide up, the VET quality framework. This spells out the standards required for RTOs for registration and the link with the Australian Qualifications Framework. It adds, there are some considerable additions in the approach with spelling out the requirements for fit and proper persons in terms of governance of RTOs, a new emphasis on financial viability, risk assessment, and the ability to require information and data in support of applications. And it's also got a role in accrediting VET courses that fall outside the national training packages, and working, of course, with the instrument, the National Code of Practice for CRICOS. A thing that's been made quite explicit in the establishment of AXA has been the notion that risk management will be a central plank in the way the regulator goes about its work, and it's going to form. The reason for this is for the regulator to provide more focus on high risk and poor performing RTOs, and to allow RTOs that have a strong track record and are lower risk to get on with their work. And it's talking about risk being applied at three levels: a risk assessment process of the actual applications themselves for initial registration or registration renewal or a change of scope, a process of doing risk ratings for the RTOs themselves, and then a broader assessment of systemic risks in the industry. And recently we've had a couple of Productivity Commission reports released, one on the aged care industry, which does include issues to do with training, and also a Productivity Commission report on the qualifications and expertise of the VET trainers in the VET industry. So I think there are some issues that come out of those reports that will require some work system-wide. With the applications as they come in, and to date, or in the first 5 or 6 weeks of operation, ASQA got 750 odd applications. 600 of them came over from the regulators that